Alright, what's up guys, single player Nacho here. If you're up for a challenge and a couple of boss fights, these are the best boss encounters in Resident Evil. If you like your boss fights with a side of amazing soundtracks, visuals and mechanics, and an extra disgusting side of B.O.W. juice, these monsters definitely did their homework. These fights weren't just difficult at times, nor are they necessarily the strongest bosses, but everything about these fights meshed together well to create an amazing and satisfying experience. Let's get to it. This beefy boss's design is filled with curiosity and meat. You'll first find the Ustanak barreling towards you through cityscapes and buildings in a chase sequence that never seems to end. I know RE6 isn't universally loved, but looking at these sequences alone, they were pretty amazing. The Ustanak's endless motivation to kill you is what makes it an impressive boss fight, as well as one of the more underrated ones in the Resident Evil series. There's a couple of encounters with the Ustanak, the last one being the most breathtaking. You actually have to fist fight this thing, which is unbelievably dumb, but it just works for all the crazy things that are already happening in a game like Resident Evil 6. And the award for the single most disgusting boss fight of perhaps every boss fight in existence goes to Marguerite Bugpuss Baker. For everything this encounter tries to accomplish, it absolutely succeeds. The overall theme of Resident Evil 7 is essentially Louisiana black magic, and for whatever reason a long-limbed, tall, insect-infested Marge fits that bill perfectly. She crawls on just about every surface, the ceilings, pops out of holes in the wall, lays down bug nests, disgustingly contorts her back to kill little Ethan. There's just so much wrong going on here, it's right. Marguerite is so well designed and has so many different details, monstrous details. Among all the bosses in RE7, this is the one that stuck out the most, or stuck on. Bug spray would be nice. You're probably wondering, with the amount of awesomely designed bosses in Resident Evil 5, why go with this standard Ouroboros monster? There's a simple explanation: the furnace. The ability to burn this thing is what puts this boss fight on the list. It's a mechanic that fits like a glove. Humongous, slimy, oily monster meets instant incineration. It's great, and I feel no remorse for making this thing suffer. After all, its appearances leading up to the actual boss fight were also pretty cool too, and scary. It made the player wonder what the hell is swallowing or disintegrating all of these people, and the gross slimy trail leads to the Ouroboros. When you think of RE bosses, the Nemesis may just be the ultimate boss that comes to mind. Just like the Ustanak, the Nemesis has various sequences and transforms a couple of times before its final stage, which is an amazing set piece when all is said and done. The Nemesis encompasses the entire stage and easily shows the true potential and fatal danger behind these viruses. Oh yeah, it's also one of the hardest, if not the hardest boss fights on the highest difficulty. With the wide range of attacks at the Nemesis' disposal, having to reload the giant anime machine weapon, this fight on a whole can be pretty frustrating. That's why when you actually complete it, it feels very gratifying. That's just a sign of how great this fight is. Thanks, Nemesis, you ugly bastard. Whenever someone is wearing a trench coat in Resident Evil, just walk away. Or in real life, I guess. With B. Torres Mendes, however, you'd best run far, far away. This boss encounter is infamous for how genuinely scary it is, and it's set up perfectly to be just that. Mendes evolves into a giant centipede-like monster, making him a couple of feet taller, which makes the warehouse an even smaller space. I'm usually not big on constant music during boss fights or climaxes within stories, but the simple and eerie tone used here is nightmarish. Don't try to hide, he will find you and bruise you up pretty good. I'd say this fight is as disgusting as Marguerite's boss fight, given how gross the second transformation is. They're pretty similar in one way or the other. This may be a bit of a controversial pick here, but I think that Fishboy Moreau's fight is the best in Resident Evil Village. You can argue Miranda or Alcina, even that nasty-ass fetus, but Salvatore's encounter is the most consistent to the character itself. Some players were confused as to why Alcina becomes a freaking dragon, or why Mother Miranda is essentially a spider woman. Village is filled with fantasy or mythological inspired monsters, but with Salvatore, there's no need to second guess this guy's motivation or antics. He's just one sad, jealous, and pitiful fish, who becomes an even bigger fish that vomits when he's upset. And the boss fight itself is oddly satisfying. The watery sound effects, as well as Moreau's weak spots, make you want to shoot it. The surrounding area is a destroyed and desolate fishing export, and it genuinely made me wonder what the hell happened there. The acid rain attack looks awesome. I don't know, I feel that this is my personal pick, and I'd love to know if some of you guys will agree. And the essential Resident Evil monster boss, the dominant creature that makes Resident Evil what it is, goes to this scrawny looking lab rat guy. William just looks like a guy that cries for no reason. A far cry from the insane transformations as Resident Evil 2 progresses. This series is about hideous mutations. It's what makes all of these games really stand out, outside of the zombies. It's about people attempting to play God, who then go on to create dangerous bioweapons. I can't think of a more in-depth character that captures that more than William Birkin, who's also a pretty big part within the lore. Each stage is more disturbing than the last. I mean, it's shocking how many forms they were able to make out of one guy. The fights themselves are just the right amount of epic, well balanced and thought out. Putting this monster out of his misery also feels great, for the domino effect that his work on the G-Virus had, which led to the nuking of Raccoon City and endless deaths. Evil, huge, brutal, and gross, the William Birkin boss fights have it all. Well, thank you so much for checking out this video. I hope you enjoyed it. Which was your favorite Resident Evil boss fight, and why? Was it because of the monster itself? The mechanics? Let me know in the comments down below. Don't forget to like and subscribe for more horror lore, lists, and mysteries. Have an awesome rest of your day, and as always, stay single.